So today's project with the Acura is the lights. I actually don't have front lights right now, so I don't use this at night. So I'd like to be able to use this at night. So that's what we're gonna do today. Normally with Hondas, I notice they're very good at servicing the engine. So they put little ways to get to the bolts and whatnot. But I noticed at least with the Acura, the headlights, you actually need to remove the whole front in order to get to the headlights. They focus a lot on, servicing the engine, but not servicing the equipment. With the Saturn, I know that I only had to open up the hood and replace the bulbs. But with these, they're a little bit more difficult. So this car is just full of surprises. So after installing the lights, I realized I can't switch between low beam and high beam and try to figure out why that is. And that's because this thing is broken. So it's always on high beam. So I'm gonna pull that out and see what happens. Now these could be dangerous, so if you guys are gonna try to copy this, make sure that you unplug the battery and unplug the airbag system. The airbag system is always yellow in most cars, so unplug those so the airbag doesn't blow up on your face. So yep, you can clearly see the problem here. The thing broke, and so it always has it on high beams because this is the button for the high beams. So let me see if I could maybe just glue that back in. If not, then I can check out my local junkyard to see if they have this specific part. So our test with just the super glue, I guess, is a fail. Super glue is not strong enough to actually hold this. It makes sense. These are supposed to be abused regularly when you're turning them. And if you just have them with a super glue bond, then to maintain its strength whilst also being abused regularly. Here's a trick to do these things. Now obviously the right thing to do is just get a new part of these. I'm sure it's very cheap at the junkyard, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys sort of staple these so then I can maintain the structural integrity of it and at least be able to last longer than a super glue. So let me show you. So then what I've just done is basically just created a few staples. Now staples would work as well, but I couldn't find any staples right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut them off of a paper clip. So first things first is we're gonna use super glue again, but this time the purpose of the super glue is to just kind of hold things in place while we staple the plastic together. So I'm just gonna do that. Hold that for a few seconds. So now that it's in place, the thing to do about this is that you get these little staples right here. You need a solder iron like so. Now I've already preheated this one to about 400 degrees, but any solder iron should work. And just take a little tweezer like so to hold this and kind of just use heat to kind of staple the thing inside. All right, let's go ahead and use heat. It should melt in to the plastic like so. That part has melted in. So now you're gonna melt this part in as well. There we go. There we go. And just for cleanliness, we're gonna go ahead and also melt the whole thing inside so it has more grip. There we go. And now you have the structural integrity of before it was broken. So here we go. That's the finished product. Yeah, it looks ghetto, but this is gonna be hidden, so no driver is gonna ever see this. So I mean, as long as it keeps its integrity, it should be good to go. Also, like it is possible to sand this down and paint it, but for this purpose it's kind of pointless because it is something that's not going to be seen unless you pull it apart. Of course, always test the functionality. Make sure you didn't compromise any functionality with your test. That's just basic stuff. So, yep. This is what I mean by spending time on something that's not going to be seen. Like, there's really, unless you're really looking there, it's hard to tell that there's anything there. So functionality is still there. So yeah, should be good to go. So working on the headlights, I of course messed with the ignition coils. For some reason I checked the ignition coils, and by doing that I accidentally shorted a fuse. You can see it's all broken now, and so now the car won't start. But luckily, at least with Hondas, you have a very quick solution to here. So here's a tip. So if you look at the fuse box on Hondas, you can see that it says spare fuses, right? And so these are the spare fuses, and you get one of each. So because things like this, I guess, tend to happen a lot. So Honda is kind enough to give us spare fuses for situations like this. So hopefully it's not a bad fuse and somebody put a bad fuse in here. So let's put it back to the ignition coil fuse, like so. And then, okay. And try to start it. There we go. Oh, here they are, front beam and high beam and low beam, signal lights, and low beam. So yeah, it works.